I'm Victor Fernandez of Fernandez Fit, and I'm here to show you why fitness is our business. Hello and welcome once again to the Healthy Lives, Healthy Business podcast. I am your host, Victor Fernandez. Thanks for joining me as you do each and every week. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope that you appreciate the following message I'll share in the show, because today I'm here to tell you that unequivocally, self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. There's no point in burying the lead, because this is at the core of what I discuss on the show every week. Busy professionals reclaiming their health and fitness in an otherwise demanding world. Of course, for me to do that effectively, I need you to help me out by liking the show, leaving a review, subscribing to it if you haven't already, of course, and sharing this show far and wide so others out there can learn that fitness is our business. Now, why is that important? Because in today's live to work, not work to live society, it's real easy to feel real selfish about taking the time to take care of ourselves. We're all pulled in so many different directions as a parent, as a spouse, a business owner, a manager. It can often feel like taking time for ourselves means we're letting others down or neglecting important responsibilities. And I was a charter member of that infamous club for many years in my early adult life. I used to beat myself up at the mere thought of wanting to take time for myself. How could I possibly think of myself when others are counting on me every day? It got to a point where I simply gave up considering the possibility. However, we need to reframe that mindset and show how prioritizing our health is truly essential, and not just for us individually. We need to break down the mental and emotional barriers and push past that guilt we all feel and start taking care of ourselves unapologetically. Like I said before, I stopped thinking about taking care of myself, didn't give it a second thought. And what happened then? My health went down the drain. My weight went through the roof. I didn't like who I was because getting out of bed was hard enough, much less being the spouse, the father, and the professional that I wanted to be, that I believed I needed to be. See, often we think that putting ourselves last is what makes us successful in those avenues of our life, when in fact, putting ourselves first is what leads us to doing just that. Putting ourselves last actually has the opposite effect, and I'm firsthand experience of that. So how do we get past that? Well, first, we have to address the proverbial elephant in the room, if you will. I just discussed the guilt that we often feel in the first place. Why do we think that way? And to me, it starts with social expectations. We live in a culture that often equates busyness with productivity and self-worth. If we're not always on, it feels like we're falling behind. As professionals, we're often juggling multiple roles at work, at home, with friends, and it's easy to feel that prioritizing our own needs takes away from those roles. And that's how I was. I was one that my mind was always on. Whether I was working or not, my mind was on the newspaper industry and what I needed to do the next day 24/7. And really, for those of us, even those of us who work a traditional 9-to-5 job, if you will, how often do you find yourselves logging off well after our workday was supposed to be done? How often do we find ourselves thinking about work even when we're not working? Happens a lot more than you think. And I think if you gave it some thought, you'd understand just how much it's infiltrated your life. So why does that happen? Well, for many of us, and I was guilty of it as much as the next person, the martyr mindset. Some of us wear our sacrifice like a badge of honor. If we're constantly putting others before ourselves, it would make us feel uncomfortable or even wrong to focus on our own health. So what do? Everybody else is more important. Everybody else comes first. Their needs, their wants, their goals, all of it come first, to the point where we don't even put ourselves last anymore. We just don't do any of it. So how do we change that? Well, we need to start reframing self-care as a necessity, really not a luxury. Think about this. And I deal with this a lot in the health and fitness industry as a coach. So many people say they want to help themselves, say they want to be healthier, They want to have more energy. They want to look better. They want to feel better. There's so many reasons why they should do it, why they want to do it. But then what's the first thing that goes away when life gets busy, when life gets tough, when we should be turning to our health and well-being, not running away from it? What's the first thing to go? Our health. That's the first thing we sacrifice when things in our life don't go according to plan, when our schedule gets a bit off kilter, or when something unforeseen happens. So how do we reframe that? How do we change that thought process, that mindset from luxury to necessity? We have to think long term, not just about today, not just about tomorrow. When we make our health a priority, it means we're investing in ourselves, investing in our future. Exercise, proper nutrition, rest and recovery, those all help put together to make us more effective, both personally and professionally. But as we know, that doesn't happen overnight. So if we want to build better stamina, if we want to have better mental clarity and more emotional resilience where we can handle the pressure that life often throws at us, those curveballs, if you will, then we need to look at it from a long-term perspective. It truly is, to pardon the cliche, a marathon, not a sprint. So why do we need to do this? Why do we need to think long-term? So what's the basic definition of burnout? Is when we reach a point when we just don't have the mental, emotional, and physical energy to keep on going with what we're doing, to maintain the pace, the unrealistic pace that we've set ourselves up for. That's what burnout is. When do we realize we're burned out? Once we've burned out. It doesn't happen. If I were to burn out today, I wouldn't realize that I was burning out 2-3 weeks ago. That just wouldn't happen. Burnout is real, folks. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And it's not just about feeling tired. It's about emotional exhaustion, reduced performance, which is the exact opposite of what we want and why we're going so hard and why we're sacrificing. It's also about feeling detached from our work or life. We just don't have the mental and emotional bandwidth to continue, again, at the pace that we've set for ourselves, an often unrealistic pace. So by prioritizing our health, we're protecting ourselves from reaching that dangerous point. So it's a defense mechanism, if you will, and it's allowing us to be more mentally and emotionally aware of, are we getting to that point? For example, for myself, when I start feeling like I'm getting sick, like I just don't feel 100%, I don't feel at the top of my game, that's when I know. Burnout may not have set in yet, but it's getting there and it's getting close, and it will get here if I don't do something about it now. And I've reached that point many times. It happens often, multiple times a year it does. So again, to avoid burnout, we need to start reframing the way we think. But in its simplest terms, why do we need to reframe the way we think? Let's face it, folks, we deserve it. We're human beings. We're people. We're only meant to burn the candle at both ends for so long. So we have to ask ourselves, what would we tell a friend or a colleague if they're going through the same type of situation? Would we tell them that they don't deserve to take care of themselves, that they don't deserve to feel at their best? We would tell them, yeah, you got to take time for yourself, and rightfully so. So why don't we tell ourselves that? Why are we different? Why is prioritizing self-care right for them, but not right for us? Doesn't make much sense now, does it? But that's exactly what happens. We are tougher and expect more from ourselves than we do from others. So what we would tell them to do, which is the right answer, take care of yourself, is something that we don't stop and think about and do for ourselves. So next time guilt creeps in, we need to remind ourselves that investing in our health today is going to allow us to better serve others, those truly important to us, those who we're sacrificing for. It's going to help us better serve them in the long run. Now, there are some simple, practical steps we can take to do just that. Number one's got to change the narrative. Instead of saying, I feel bad for taking care of myself, try saying something like, by taking care of myself, I'm better equipped to take care of others. We're turning a statement that has a negative connotation to it and turning it into a statement with a positive connotation to it. Because when we change our internal dialogue, we start to shift the way we feel about our actions. Now we're looking at it from a more positive perspective. Next thing we need to do is we need to set boundaries, both for ourselves and for others. Make our health non-negotiable. If you followed me long enough, you know there's priorities, and then above that, there's non-negotiables. And those are the things that come hell or high water are going to take place that day, and no one and nothing is going to change that. And we have to set those. And that includes setting our workouts, setting our self-care time, the same way we would schedule a meeting, schedule an appointment with a client. When it's blocked into our calendar, if I were to show you my phone here, my Google Calendar, you'll see it. Everything is in there. What time I'm doing my workouts, what time I'm having my meals, what time I'm walking my dogs, what time I'm spending time with my family, what time am I taking time for myself. Just like on my schedule, it shows I'm recording this podcast at this particular time on this particular day. Same thing. It's not different. And it's color coded too, so I can see it looks nice. I like it. So what you want to do is you want to politely communicate your boundaries to others. Let your family, let your coworkers, your friends know that your well-being is important to you and you're not neglecting them to take care of yourself. You're taking care of yourself to help them in the long run. That's why it's necessary. And trust me, if these people care about you the way they say they do, they're going to respect those boundaries. They're going to follow through on what you're asking them to do. My family is great with that. They know my workout time is my time. My wife knows when she goes out grocery shopping, if I'm not there, she knows what I want. And if she doesn't, she asks me what I need, if there's anything I need. She's great at that. And I appreciate her support. It makes it so much easier when our families, our friends, our coworkers support what we do. Start small. If the idea of prioritizing our health seems overwhelming, and it can be, there's no doubt about that, start with small, manageable actions. This could be a 10-minute meditation, a short walk, prepping a healthy lunch, small wins. And I hate using the word small because there's wins, but whether you use the word small or not, those wins build momentum when we stack them on top of the other. And over time, as we're stacking them, we're reducing the guilt because we realize that what we're doing isn't disruptive. It's actually benefiting ourselves and those around us. And just like I said a moment ago, enlist support. My wife is great about it. Shelly, she's awesome about it. Maybe in the beginning she wasn't sure what exactly I was doing and why I was doing it and how I was doing it. But over time she learned, she caught on, and she's great with it. And my family as well. I mean, my family, my clients support me just like I support themselves. My friends, same thing. It takes a village, if you will, and it's not just when you're a kid, it's when you're an adult as well. So share your goals. Share your goals with someone who understands you, understands them, and respects you and your goals. A friend, a coach, a mentor, all of the above, because this can help reinforce the importance of our health and give us someone to turn to, when the guilt starts to creep in, and it does from time to time. And celebrate your progress. There was a friend of mine on Facebook just the other day posted the question, do you celebrate your wins or you just move on? And I responded, I celebrate my wins, then I get back to work. And I tell my clients the same thing. And he was 100% on board with that, as we all should be. We do the work. We deserve the credit. It's not selfish. We should be able to pat ourselves in the back and believe we did a good job, and then refocus and move on to the next task at hand. So you have to celebrate your progress. Because what does that do? It energizes us. It makes us more focused, more present. It makes us more inclined to keep going because we realize that what we're doing is working. Here's some ideas that could help. I had to learn that saying no to others, sometimes meant saying yes to myself. That's a win as far as I'm concerned. Because once I started doing that, things started to fall into place. Once I embraced that, I stopped feeling guilty about doing right by myself. Because really, if I'm exhausted, if I'm burned out, like I spoke about earlier, I'm good to nobody else, including myself. But now I see my morning walks and my walks with my dogs and my workouts and my healthy meals all as necessary to my overall success, personally and professionally, as any meetings do, as any client calls do. I love my clients. I love calls with them, which is why I do right by myself, because I want to be at my best for them, just like I want to be at my best for my family. So promoting our self-care makes us stronger, makes us more present, more effective to everyone and everything else that counts on us. So if we start with small steps, set some boundaries along the way, and celebrate our progress too, that's going to make us healthier and help put us in a position to help those around us even more, which is ultimately what we want to do. That's all I've got for you today, folks. I appreciate you joining me as you do each and every week. Remember, once again, to go ahead and like this show, leave a great review. I appreciate that. Certainly subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And of course, share this show, share this episode in particular with anyone and everyone you cross paths with in life, because the more you do that, the more people that will get to learn that fitness is our business. Thanks so much for listening. I hope what we've shared on this show truly resonates with you. If you want to learn more about the health and fitness services I provide, head to my website, fernandezfit.com. If you're ready to connect with me about health and fitness coaching, send an email to info@fernandezfit.com or a text to 814-504-7774. And of course, you can find me all across social media, Victor Fernandez 123 on Facebook, Fernandez Fit on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, as well as the Healthy Lives, Healthy Business channel on YouTube. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, always remember, fitness is our business.